Good evening, everybody. How are you? Well, today we're going to start a new unit, 9A, Lucky Encounters, on page 144. It is reading and two listenings to introduce a new grammatical point that is third conditional. To deal with that, at the beginning, I would like you to think about what kind of lucky terms do people or different cultures think about talking about luck? Luck, suerte, brings you luck. What can bring you luck? Here in Spain, okay, for example, there are some certain specific objects that bring you bad luck, and you can be unlucky. For example, if someone spills you salt on you, it's very bad. Or if you see a black cat, it can bring you very bad luck. In England, for example, above all in Ireland, when you see a shamrock, a four-leaved shamrock, el trébol, it brings you good luck, for example, or a horseshoe, una herradura, it brings you good luck. Then, do you believe that there is good or bad luck in your life? I think so, that you can be lucky or unlucky. Today, we are going to deal with lucky encounters in which during your life, in your lifetime, there are specific moments in you were very lucky, and because of that, the result, the consequence of an event in your life was a very positive one. Then, as I wish you good luck, let's start today's lesson. Come on, everybody. Then, page 144, everybody. 9A, lucky encounters. Encounters, encuentros afortunados. This is an adjective. Luck is a noun. Luck is a noun. And lucky is the adjective. Very important, yes. Lucky and luck. Then here it is. Lucky encounters. Then listening and speaking. Well, imagine that we were at class, then we were thinking about this. What would you do if the second conditional if? Then we are going to talk about hypothetical situation. Then, what would you do if, number one, somebody in the street, a homeless person or a beggar, asked you for money on your way home tonight? What would you do? Very dangerous, but this person is asking you for money. What would you do? Would you give it and run away, or you would say no, or you would call the police? Different options. Number two, what would you do if you were driving home at night and you saw somebody who had run out of petrol? Run out es quedarse sin gasolina. Would you stop to offer your help, or you would pretend not to have looked at these people? Number three, you saw an old man being attacked in the street by a couple of teenagers. What would you do if you saw somebody being attacked? I would call the police for sure. Number four, what would you do if you were in a queue at a stationary airport and somebody asked you to go in front of you because he or she was in a hurry? What would you do? Well, maybe depending on the day. Well, maybe you would say, well, no problem, of course. But sometimes you said, I'm in a hurry too, then you have to wait, the same as me. 5. If you were driving to work and you saw somebody by the road hitchhiking, haciendo autostop, would you stop and take the person wherever this person wanted to go, or you don't trust hitchhikers. And number 6, if you saw someone on a bus or a train looking really upset, would you go and say, well, is everything is okay? Or if you realize all these situations have to do with helpful people, if we like being helpful to people or not. Because today we're going to listen and we're going to read about a person who was so helpful that made another person have a lucky ending and a happy ending. So then, let's move on this. It's listening as well as a reading comprehension. We are going to read and listen to writer. He is Bernard Hare. It's a writer, and he is on a radio program talking about a true story that happened to him when he was a student. Then here you have specific phrases or words that could say that summarize what happened to him. Then the police, a phone box, una cabina de teléfono, ya no conocemos esto, pero existía, ¿no? The last train, hitchhike from Peterborough, hacer otro stop, the ticket inspector, revisor, upset. And maybe someone was upset. Then the police, there was a call on a phone box, something about an inspector, a train, then somebody hitchhiked from Peterborough. Well, let's see how does this story start. And here you have, because we are going to listen to it as well as read it at the same time. Then, are you ready? Page 144. Let's see.
(9.1)
I was living in a student flat in North London when the police knocked on my door one night. I thought it was because I hadn't paid the rent for a few months, so I didn't open the door. But then I wondered if it was something to do with my mother, who I knew wasn't very well. There was no phone in the flat, and this was before the days of mobile phones, so I ran down to the nearest phone box and phoned my dad in Leeds, in the north of England. He told me that my mum was very ill in hospital and that I should go home as soon as I could. When I got to the station, I found that I'd missed the last train to Leeds. There was a train to Peterborough, from where some local trains went to Leeds, but I would miss the connection by about 20 minutes. I decided to get the Peterborough train. I was so desperate to get home that I thought maybe I could hitchhike from Peterborough. "Tickets, please." I looked up and saw the ticket inspector. He could see from my eyes that I'd been crying. "Are you okay?" he asked. "Of course I'm okay," I said. "You look awful," he continued. "Is there anything I can do?" "You could go away," I said rudely. But he didn't. He sat down and said, "If there's a problem, I'm here to help." The only thing I could think of was to tell him my story. When I finished, I said, "So, now you know. I'm a bit upset and I don't feel like talking anymore, okay?" "Okay," he said, finally getting up. "I'm sorry to hear that, son. I hope you make it home." I continued to look out of the window at the dark countryside. 10 minutes later, the ticket inspector came back.
Well, I think that you know the story, you understood the story. He was a student. The police knocked, but he was worried about if they were asking for money because he hadn't paid the rent. But he suspected that maybe something wrong happened to his mother. It was true that his mother was at hospital. he had to take a train, but after that train, there was no way of getting to Leeds. Then he was so upset that the ticket inspector was asking him what happened to him, and he told him the story. Very helpful man, doing him a favor. Then we are going to listen 9.2 and decide what you think happened next. Then there's a problem. The ticket inspector is worrying about him, and 10 minutes later the ticket inspector came back. What do you think happened? What did the ticket inspector do? Then you have to answer these questions. What did the ticket inspector do for Bernard, this helpful man, and trying to sympathize? How did Bernard react? Number 3, what did the ticket inspector then ask Bernard to do? And number 4, how did this experience change him? In what way? Then listen and let's see.
9.2.
The ticket inspector touched my arm. Listen, he said, when we get to Peterborough station, run as fast as you can to platform 1. The Leeds train will be there. I looked at him without really understanding what he had said. What do you mean? I said. Is the train late or something? No, it's not late, the ticket inspector said. I've just radioed Peterborough station. The train is going to wait for you. As soon as you get on, it'll leave. The passengers will complain, but let's not worry about that. You'll get home, and that's the main thing. And he walked away. I suddenly realised what an amazing thing he had done. I got up and went after him. I wanted to give him everything I had, all the money in my wallet, but I knew he would be offended. I grabbed his arm. I just wanted to, but I couldn't continue. It's okay, he said. No problem. I wish I had a way to say thank you, I said. I really appreciate what you've done. No problem, he said again. Listen, if you want to thank me, the next time you see someone in trouble, help them. That will pay me back. And tell them to do the same to someone else. It'll make the world a better place. When the train stopped, I rushed to platform 1 and sure enough the Leeds train was there waiting. And a few hours later, I was with my mum in hospital. Even now, years later, whenever I think of her, I remember the good ticket inspector on that late-night train to Peterborough. It changed me from a young man who was nearly a criminal into a decent human being. I've been trying to pay him back ever since then.
Very nice story. Very nice. Well, if you want to listen to it again, no problem. Remember that you have the listening in your Oxford online, or you can record. It's recorded and you can rewind. Well, let's say then. What did the inspector ticket do for him? Well, he radioed, then he called by the radio Peterborough station and asked them to make the train to Leeds wait for Bernard. And he said, is it late? No, but they will be waiting for you. They were very angry, but they will be waiting for you. And number 2, how did Bernard react? Well, he was really grateful. Estaba muy agradecido. He wanted to give him money, whatever he wanted, and he said, no, I don't want money. I only want to do the same. Then They want you to help, yeah, the next person he sees in trouble. Then the best way is when you see a person in trouble, do the same as I did today for you. And the last, number 4, the last one, the question was, how did this experience change him? Well, it made him realize, and it changed him. It changed him from being nearly, okay, casi, a criminal into a decent person. Decent person, a good human being. Could be, because he could go to hospital. He could get there on time to see his mom, and it was a very good favor. And these helpful people are needed in this world. Then, answer 1, he radioed Peter Bar station and asked them to make the train to leave its way for Bernard. Number 2, he was very grateful, and in exchange he had to help the next person who is in trouble, and it changed him from being merely a criminal into a good person. These are the answers. And this was the ticket inspector's story, but now we are going to move on 3 different people who are going to tell us different stories, 3 stories about strangers who helped them. We call them strangers because they are anonymous. We don't know about them. They had no relation, but they were very helpful at that time. Then we are going to listen to story 1, story 2, and story 3. But here, story 1, story 2, and story 3. And you have to tell me in which story. Then we have to match 3 sentences to each stories. What happened in each story? For example, A, the problem happened at airport security, story 1, 2, or 3. B, the problem happened when the speaker was shopping for food. The speaker had forgotten an important rule. D, the speaker was traveling with his or her family when something happened. E, the speaker didn't have enough money to pay for something. F, the speaker lost something that was really important for him or her. G, a week later, the man returned the items which had been taken away. Items, artículos, productos. H, the stranger was very scary and asustado. And the last one, I, one of the strangers who helped him or her was a child. Then a child, a stranger who helped. In which story? Are you ready? Then you have the statements here. Listen to story 1, 2, and 3 and tell me which of these sentences happened in each story. Ready? Steady and go.
9.3 Story 1.
When I was 7, my family were on holiday in the USA, and one day we drove to the Grand Canyon. The car window was open, and at one point my favourite blanket flew out the window and was gone. I was devastated. It was my security blanket, and I couldn't sleep without it. Soon after, we stopped for petrol at a service station. I was sitting in the car feeling miserable, eating a sandwich, when a biker gang, a group of guys on motorbikes in leather jackets, drove into the petrol station. A huge, frightening man with a grey and black beard got off his bike and came to the car. He knocked on the window and then pulled my blanket from his jacket pocket and handed it to my mum. He then went back to his motorbike, I was so happy. I ran up to him and gave him my sandwich.
Story 2.
This happened about 20 years ago, but the memory is still really vivid. I was recently married, my wife was pregnant, and we had very little money because I only had a part-time job. It was a few days before payday, and I went to a food store to get only what we absolutely needed. In all, I bought about $10 worth of stuff. At the checkout, I swiped my debit card. The cashier said, "Sorry, it says declined. Try again." I asked her to take one item out of the basket, and then I swiped again. There was now a line of customers behind me. The cashier said, "Sorry, declined again." I went on taking things out until the only thing I had left was a loaf of bread, and then the card was accepted. I took my bread and left. I was feeling absolutely humiliated. A few seconds later, I heard the voice of a little girl behind me, a girl who was standing with her mother right behind me in the line. She gave me a grocery bag full of all the things I'd put back. Her mother had bought them for me. I still cry when I remember that moment and think how such a small act can mean so much for a person in need.
Story 3.
I'm a painter, and a couple of years ago, I was traveling by plane to see friends, and I'd taken my painting things with me. I forgot about the rules about not being able to take liquids and carry-on luggage, so when I got to security at the airport, the man took away all my paints. I was really angry with myself for being so stupid. But when I came back a week later, the security man was there at the baggage reclaim area with my paints. Not only had he kept them for me, but he'd also looked up the date and time of my return flight so that he could be there to meet me.
So, how was it? If you want to listen to it again, no problem, rewind the video, or you can say it again, the explanation. Then, let's start. In which story? A. The problem happened at airport security. Very good. In this last story. 3. Something happened that in the check-in no liquids were allowed and all the paints she has to leave all the paints, yeah, in the security. B. The problem happened when the speaker was shopping for food. Very good. Story 2. He had a part-time job. His wife was pregnant, and it was before the payday, and they had no money. He wanted something for some food, and he only could buy a loaf of bread. C. The speaker had forgotten an important rule. Yeah, of course, at the airport, no liquids are allowed. Then she had forgotten that. That's why he had to leave these liquids at security. D. The speaker was traveling with his or her family when something happened. 1. Yeah, she was traveling with her family and the blanket. She had lost it. Yeah. E. We're going to read. The speaker didn't have enough money to pay something. Yeah. It is shopping for food, story 2, and had no money. He had a part-time job. Very good. And F, let's see. The speaker lost something that was really important for her. It's 1, a blanket. Yeah. G, A week later, the man returned the items which he had been taken away. The man returned the items which had been taken away. G. Yeah, in the last story, the security man was waiting for her to give her the paints. Very good, very helpful. And the last one, the penultimate, the stranger was very scary. Yeah, it's one. Those with the jackets, little jackets, and the motorbike. For her, he was very scary. And the last one of the strangers who helped him, was a child. Yeah, in story 2, a child was who realized that the man was shopping for food and he had no money, and she told her mother, and her mother paid for him. Then these are examples of very helpful people and lucky encounters. Then these are the solutions for this listening. Yeah, A3, B2, C3, D1, E2, F1, G3, H1, and I2, the second story. Yeah. Then these are stories that happened in the past, and as you know, we cannot change the past. And this is linked with the next, what we are going to do. What kind of grammar? Well, today we're going to deal with third conditional, when we read and we talk about something that happened in the past. And as you know, we cannot change the past. Never can be changed. Then it says, match the sentence halves about the stories in one. Here you have all the subordinate, all the clauses that introduces the conditional with if. Remember, if introduces the conditional, we have to match each sentence with the result, the main clause. And then we realized how do we structure, what kind of structure, which verbal tenses we have to use when dealing with third conditional. Then, number 1. If the inspector hadn't stopped train to Leeds, if the inspector hadn't, what do you think? Match it at home. What happened? The man and his wife wouldn't have had anything to eat. She wouldn't have been able to sleep. Bernard would have missed his connections, or she wouldn't have got them back. What do you think? What's the correct one? What do you think? 1 is C, very good. Then, if the inspector hadn't stopped the train to Leeds, C, Bernard would have missed his connection. And then the consequence is that he wouldn't have been on time to hospital to see his mother. Very good. Let's see number 2. If the biker hadn't found the little girl's blanket, si no hubiera encontrado la sábana, la manta de la niña pequeña, ¿qué hubiera pasado? The man and his wife wouldn't have had anything to eat, she wouldn't have been able to sleep, or she wouldn't have gotten back. Very good. She wouldn't have been able to sleep. No hubiera podido dormirse sin su manta. 2B. Very good. And 3. If the girl and her mother hadn't bought the groceries, if the girl and her mother hadn't bought the groceries, A, the man and his wife wouldn't have had anything to eat. They had no money to eat. Then, 3A. And the last one. If the security man had thrown the woman's paints away, she wouldn't have got them back. No los hubiera recuperado, claro que no. Oh, she wouldn't have got them back. But these are sentences that didn't happen. These are suppositions. We are supposing things, but they didn't happen. We are thinking about what had happened. But we cannot change the past. We are expressing impossible to happen. We are supposing things, but we cannot change. That's what the third conditional states. Then we are going to deal with when to use third conditional. But look at the structure. All the if sentences, I'm going to write it here, then you can see it. All the if sentences, look, all the if sentences, which verbal tense can you say? Hadn't stopped, hadn't found, hadn't bought, have thrown. Very good. This is past perfect. And the main clause, let's see. Wouldn't have had, wouldn't have been able, would have missed, wouldn't have got. This is perfect conditional. Then it's would have plus past participle. Yo le llamo la condicional perfecta, porque todos los tiempos verbales llevan la palabra perfecta. Past perfect, pasado perfecto, y condicional perfecto, would have plus past participle. Then today we start the third conditional, and I'm going to explain to you how what kind of a structure, which verbal tenses you have to use, and when. When do you have to use this third condition? Ready? Steady, go. Grammar explanation. Here you have. Third conditional. In the subordinate, in the if clause, you have to use past perfect. ¿Cómo era pasado perfecto? El have y participio. Had and past participle, and the main clause would have plus past participle. Then, if I had studied harder, I would have passed my exam. Then, had past participle, would have plus past participle. Si hubiera estudiado más, hubiese aprobado mi examen. Ah, but I failed, pero suspendí. Can I change this fact? ¿Puedo cambiar esto? No se puede cambiar. Ya no he estudiado, ya he suspendido. No puedo cambiar. ¿Qué me estoy haciendo aquí? Lamentando. Very good. It's impossible to happen. If I had studied, I would have passed my exam. When do we use third conditional? Well, it expresses a real situation, impossible to happen, and it is also used to express regrets. Regret significa lamentaciones. Siempre nos lamentamos de algo que hemos hecho o que no hemos hecho. Lamentamos algo del pasado. ¿Podemos cambiarlo? No. ¿Qué nos queda? Lamentarnos. Regrets. Then, regrets about something that happened in the past, and the past cannot be changed. Is it clear? Then impossible to happen, unreal situations. Si os acordáis, empezamos con el primer condicional, que era cosas posibles que pasan. If I study, I will pass my exam. Si estudio, aprobaré. Luego pasábamos al segundo condicional, imaginary. unlikely to happen, improbable to happen. Situaciones imaginarias, improbables, difícil que sucedan. If and simple past, would plus infinitive. If I were you, or if I were rich, si fuera rico, I would buy a bigger house. Me compraría una casa. ¿Es imposible? No, pero improbable. And we also use it to express advice. También utilizábamos el segundo condicional para expresar consejo. If I were you, si yo fuera tú, I would help the other people. Ayudaría a los demás. Second conditional. ¿Qué nos queda ahora el tercer condicional? Impossible to happen. Unreal situations. And it's also used to express regrets. Very important is regrets and unreal situations or impossible to happen. These are the keywords. Then you have this explanation. I will send you by mail the explanation, then you have it in paper if you want to. And so after dealing with that, we need to practice. Then everybody go on your grammar bank, 9A, third conditional. Then page 220, everybody, 220, the grammar bank. Yeah, page 220, grammar bank. And here you have the same explanation that I have explained here. You have 229A, third conditional. For example, if I had known you had a problem, I would have helped you. Ay, si hubiera sabido que tienes un problema, pues te hubiera ayudado. Pero no, como no lo sabía, no te he ayudado. If Paul hadn't gone to Brazil, he wouldn't have met his wife. Ya se ha casado y todo, ¿vale? Sí que ha ido a Brasil y sí que la ha conocido. Estoy pensando en algo hipotético. Si no hubiera ido a Brasil, no la hubiera conocido. Then we normally use third conditional to talk about hypothetical, imaginary situations in the past. How things could have been different in the past. Then, what do you have to do? This is the exercises I would like you to do for homework. Yeah, you have to match the sentence halves, joining this half with this one. How do you have to do that? You have to watch, you have to pay attention. If the sentence have no if, si no tiene la parte del if, es que es la principal. Mirad, Billy wouldn't have injured his head. Billy no se hubiera hecho daño en su cabeza, en su cabeza, no se hubiera lesionado la cabeza. No hay ningún if, por tanto es la principal. Would have y participio. ¿Qué tengo que buscar? La parte del if. Y la parte del if va en pasado perfecto. Entonces esta la tengo que unir con la D. D. If he'd worn his helmet. La parte del if, esto apóstrofe y esta D, no es un would. Ay, Sonia, ¿cómo sé que no es un would? Porque el would va seguido de infinitivo. Esto es un participio. Entonces es un have más participio. Es un pasado perfecto. If he'd worn his helmet. Voy a ver si funciona. Si él hubiera llevado su casco, Billy no se hubiera lesionado su cabeza. Puedes traducir perfectamente esto, sí, la tercera condicional. Let's do it together. One or two samples and the rest of it you are going to do it for homework. Then, number one, if me dan la parte del if con el pasado perfecto, tengo que unirla, tengo que buscar una parte principal con un would have más participio. Vamos a ver. If I hadn't seen the speed camera, si no hubiera visto la cámara de velocidad, what do you think? Una principal, tú no hubieras cogido un resfriado, no se hubieran conocido, no hubiera reducido. Claro, es esta. I. Menos mal que la vi. La cámara de seguridad. De velocidad. Si no lo hubiera visto, probablemente no la hubiera reducido la velocidad. Would have más participio. Muy bien. Then, let's do number 2. John might have got the job. El might a veces es como si fuera un would have o un could have, ¿vale? Como si fuera el would, could. El would be able to. Entonces, podría haber conseguido el trabajo, es la principal, tengo que buscar una parte del if. John podría haber conseguido el trabajo if you'd gone to university, if she told you the truth, if he'd been on time for his interview. Yeah, if had been past participle. Entonces, John podría haber conseguido el trabajo. ¿Veis este might? Podría, es para evitarse el would have been able to, ¿vale? Entonces, John podría haber conseguido el trabajo to if he had been on time for his interview. Very good. To F. Yeah? Then you have to do this for homework. You have to match. And here you have to complete the third conditional sentences with the correct form of the verbs in brackets. If, when you see the if, you have to use past perfect and the main clause would have and past participle. Then do the grammar bank for next Thursday, because next Thursday we'll start the class by correcting this. Is it clear? Yeah? Then here you have the explanation. I'm going to send you the explanation and do for homework the grammar bank third conditional. Then see you next Thursday, and you are working very well. Congratulations. Bye bye.